The age of discovery, a time when the horizon beckoned with promises of untold riches and adventures, held a deeply guarded secret. In an era when women were officially forbidden from boarding ships, a remarkable few dared to challenge the impossible. These extraordinary women became the silent protagonists of one of humanity's greatest adventures. Picture a world where the mere act of stepping onto a ship's deck could result in severe punishment or death for a woman. Yet driven by an unquenchable spirit of adventure, ambition, or sometimes desperate circumstances, these pioneering women risked everything. Some disguised themselves as men, binding their chests and adopting male mannerisms, while others negotiated their presence through wit, wisdom, and cunning. They faced not only the treacherous seas, but also the constant threat of discovery in an exclusively male domain. What extraordinary courage and determination drove these women to defy societal norms, royal decrees, and maritime laws? Their stories, long buried in the depths of history, revealed tales of remarkable ingenuity and resilience. While their male counterparts' names echo through history books, these women navigated not only the vast oceans, but also the dangerous waters of a society that denied their very right to adventure. In the cramped quarters of Portuguese caravels and Spanish galleons, they maintained their secrets while contributing to one of the most significant periods of human exploration. These are the untold stories of the women who dared to sail when the world said they couldn't, who charted courses not just across oceans, but through the rigid boundaries of their time. As the waves crash against an ancient harbor in Seville, Spain, September 1522, marks a pivotal moment in human history. The Victoria, the lone surviving ship of Magellan's fleet, limps into port after completing mankind's first circumnavigation of the globe. But beyond the celebrated tales of survival and discovery lies a deeper, more intriguing narrative. Among the 18 haggard survivors who stepped onto Spanish soil that day, untold stories of courage and resilience remained forever sealed in silence. The creaking timbers of the Victoria held secrets that would never fully come to light. Stories of those who defied not only the treacherous seas, but the rigid social constraints of their time. The official records speak of men, sailors, and warriors, but whispered accounts tell of others. Shadows in the periphery of history, whose very presence aboard these vessels defied royal decrees and maritime law. In the dim light of history, we now know that women, disguised and hidden, played roles in these epic voyages that would reshape human understanding of our world. Their stories, carefully concealed beneath layers of deception and necessity, represent an untold chapter in the greatest adventure of the age of discovery. Today, we'll peel back the centuries of silence to reveal the extraordinary truth about those who dared to sail when their very presence at sea was forbidden. The world remembers Magellan's expedition as a triumph of human endurance and exploration, but beneath this celebrated narrative lies an even more remarkable tale of courage, one that has remained hidden in the shadows of history until now. History enthusiasts, prepare to have your understanding of the age of discovery completely transformed. This isn't just another tale of exploration, it's a revelation that will challenge everything you thought you knew about the great age of sail. Join the thousands of historical investigators already uncovering hidden truths by hitting that subscribe button on Modern Age Chronicles right now. Ring that bell to ensure you don't miss this extraordinary journey into one of the modern age's best-kept secrets. Be part of a community that's rewriting history, one hidden story at a time. The truth about who really sailed these legendary voyages is about to be revealed, and you won't believe what we've discovered. In the shadows of the great maritime expeditions, two remarkable women emerged as silent architects of naval success, their influence reaching far beyond the constraints of their time. In the bustling port of Lisbon, during the height of Portuguese maritime dominance, Inés de Castro wielded an influence that defied the rigid gender roles of 15th century society. While history often reduces women of her era to passive observers, Inez operated as a sophisticated negotiator and information broker. Through an intricate network of connections spanning from Lisbon's harbour to trading posts along Africa's coast, she orchestrated complex commercial arrangements that would shape Portuguese trading routes. Her seemingly innocent social gatherings masked strategic meetings where she facilitated crucial information exchange between merchants, cartographers, and naval commanders. Using her position as a noblewoman, Inez maintained coded correspondences with key figures across multiple ports, effectively creating an intelligence network that proved invaluable to Portuguese maritime interests. Her masterful understanding of political dynamics and trade relations made her an indispensable, albeit invisible, force in Portugal's maritime expansion. Rising above conventional limitations, Beatriz de Bobadilla emerged as one of the most influential figures in the strategic gateway to the New World. As governor of El Hierro in the Canary Islands, she transformed this seemingly modest territory into a crucial hub for both Spanish and Portuguese expeditions. Her governance of the island went far beyond mere administration. She developed it into a sophisticated operation center for Atlantic voyages. Beatriz's brilliant strategic mind recognized the island's potential as a final European stopover for vessels heading to the Americas. She established an unprecedented support system for maritime expeditions, providing not just essential supplies, but also invaluable navigational intelligence. Her private library contained some of the most accurate maps of Atlantic currents and wind patterns, which she selectively shared with chosen expeditions. Bobadilla's network of informants brought her detailed reports about weather patterns and competing nations' movements, making her counsel invaluable to both Spanish and Portuguese crowns. Perhaps most remarkably, she maintained this delicate diplomatic balance while expanding her influence, turning El Hierro into an indispensable strategic asset during the Age of Discovery. These women's stories demonstrate how intellectual acumen and strategic thinking could overcome the severe gender restrictions of their time. While they couldn't physically sail the oceans, their influence profoundly shaped the success and direction of numerous maritime expeditions, proving that the Age of Discovery was not exclusively a male endeavor. Step aboard a 16th century sailing vessel, where every sensation tells a story of survival and secrecy. The air is thick with an intricate tapestry of smells that define life at sea during the Age of Discovery. Acrid gunpowder mingles with the ever-present brine of the ocean, while moisture-laden wooden planks release their distinct aroma, a mixture of tar, oak, and the persistent dampness that penetrates everything aboard. Exotic spices from distant lands escape from their burlap containers, their potent fragrances of cinnamon, clove, and pepper, adding an otherworldly dimension to the maritime bouquet. In these floating worlds of approximately 82 feet in length, every square inch tells a tale of calculated survival. The main deck, perpetually slick with sea spray, creaks and groans under the weight of countless footsteps. Below deck, the air grows thicker, heavier with the bodily presence of dozens of souls cramped together. Here, in these confined spaces, those with secrets to keep must maintain constant vigilance. Heavy wool garments and thick leather clothing serve dual purposes: protection against the harsh elements and concealment of true identities. These clothes, often weighing several pounds when dry and considerably more when wet, become both armor and prison for those hiding in plain sight. Layers upon layers of fabric bind and constrain, making every movement a calculated risk, every gesture a carefully choreographed performance. The coarse material chafes against skin, a constant reminder of the price of deception. Space itself becomes a precious commodity in these wooden worlds. Sailors sleep in shifts, packed together in spaces barely large enough to turn over. Every corner, every shadow becomes a potential hiding spot or a dangerous exposure. Storage areas double as sleeping quarters, while cooking spaces serve as impromptu meeting points. The captain's quarters, barely larger than a modern closet, represents the height of luxury in this cramped universe. The constant motion of the ship adds another layer of challenge. The rolling deck demands a specific way of walking, a particular manner of moving that must be learned and perfected. For those maintaining disguises, this physical adaptation must appear effortless, natural. Any awkwardness could raise suspicious eyes. The perpetual dance of maintaining balance while performing duties becomes second nature, but one wrong step could reveal everything. In these confined spaces, privacy is an illusion. The sounds of human life echo throughout, coughing, snoring, whispered conversations, and the constant shuffle of feet on wooden planks. Every action must be calculated, every movement considered, as the wrong gesture or slip of behavior could expose carefully guarded secrets in this intensely communal environment. This is the world where some of history's most daring women lived, hidden in plain sight, their every breath a calculated risk in the pursuit of freedom, adventure, or necessity. These ships, these floating microcosms of society, became both prison and liberation, spaces where identity itself became as fluid as the waters that carried them to unknown horizons. The untold story of women in the age of discovery reveals a complex web of survival strategies and unprecedented acts of courage. These weren't mere passengers stealing away on ships. They were active participants who shaped the course of maritime history through their ingenuity, resilience, and determination. The art of disguise became a masterful skill, requiring constant vigilance and attention to detail. Women bound their breasts with tight linen strips, adopted masculine gaits, and learned to mimic the rough mannerisms of sailors. They mastered the specific calluses that marked a sailor's hands, deliberately roughened their voices, and learned to navigate the complex social dynamics of all-male crews. Some even fabricated elaborate backstories, complete with childhood tales and family histories, to withstand the intense scrutiny of long voyages. Consider the remarkable case of Maria Quiteria, who not only disguised herself as a soldier, but excelled in combat. Her story exemplifies how women could transcend gender boundaries when given the opportunity. She learned to handle weapons, navigate by the stars, and command respect through sheer competence. Her success suggests that many other women might have served undetected, their stories forever lost to history. But physical disguise was just one strategy. Other women wielded influence through intelligence networks and diplomatic channels. They became information brokers in ports, translators in foreign territories, and negotiators in complex trade deals. Some used their perceived invisibility to their advantage, gathering intelligence that male counterparts couldn't access. These women operated in a grey area of society, using the very restrictions placed upon them as tools for advancement. The challenges these women faced were multifaceted. Beyond the physical dangers of sea travel, storms, diseases, pirates, they navigated complex social hierarchies while maintaining their secrets. Discovery meant not just embarrassment, but potential execution or imprisonment. Every day required careful calculation, how to bathe in secret, how to maintain disguises during medical emergencies, how to deflect romantic interests from fellow crew members. The historical record suggests these cases were more common than previously acknowledged. Ship logs, court documents, and personal letters reveal glimpses of women who lived these double lives. Their success in maintaining these deceptions demonstrates that the rigid gender boundaries of the era were more permeable than official histories suggest. Absolutely mind-blowing, isn't it? But we've barely scratched the surface of this historical revelation. What's your theory about these incredible women who shaped maritime history? Share your thoughts in the comments below, And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to Modern Age Chronicles. Together, we're uncovering the hidden mysteries that change the course of history. Hit that notification bell to join our community of historical investigators. You won't want to miss our next shocking revelation about the Age of Discovery. Remember, history isn't just about what's written in textbooks. It's about uncovering the truth behind the official narrative. Join us on this extraordinary journey of discovery. In the depths of dusty archives and forgotten collections, a revolutionary story emerges through fragmented documents that survived centuries of intentional obscurity. These papers, ranging from censored ship logs to intercepted personal letters, paint a vivid picture of women's hidden roles in the Age of Discovery. Ship logs from the period reveal curious inconsistencies and suspicious corrections. Pages show careful erasures and deliberate omissions, particularly in crew manifests and daily activity records. In several Portuguese caravels documents, names appear scratched out and rewritten, while certain crew members' descriptions remain conspicuously vague. These censored logs often contain subtle clues: unusual medical treatments recorded, unexplained separate sleeping arrangements, or mysterious additional food rations that don't align with the official crew count. Personal letters, intercepted and archived by naval authorities, tell even more compelling stories. Correspondence between sailors and their families sometimes contained coded messages about female presence aboard ships. Some letters, written by women themselves but signed with male names, detailed their experiences at sea while maintaining their cover. These intimate documents reveal sophisticated systems of mutual protection among crew members who knew these women's true identities but chose to keep their secrets. Parish records from port cities present another layer of evidence. These fragmentary ecclesiastical documents show unusual patterns of women's disappearances coinciding with major sailing expeditions. More intriguingly, some records contain hastily modified gender markers and names, suggesting last-minute identity changes before departures. Baptismal records occasionally reveal children born to supposedly all-male crews during long voyages, their mothers' identities carefully obscured or listed with obvious pseudonyms. Perhaps the most revealing documents come from ecclesiastical court proceedings. These religious tribunals occasionally tried cases of women discovered aboard ships, providing detailed testimonies that illuminate their strategies for survival and resistance. Court records describe elaborate disguises, complex support networks, and ingenious methods these women used to maintain their deceptions. Some proceedings detail how women learned to walk, talk, and behave like experienced sailors, while others reveal how they managed to secure allies among crew members who helped protect their identities. These surviving documents tell a story far beyond their written words. They reveal sophisticated systems of resistance against gender restrictions, showing how women created networks of support and developed innovative strategies to pursue lives at sea. The very existence of these censored, modified, and hidden records demonstrates not just individual acts of defiance, but a broader pattern of women's participation in maritime exploration that official histories have long denied. Through careful examination of these fragmented pieces, we can reconstruct a historical narrative that acknowledges these remarkable women's contributions to the Age of Discovery. The presence of women during the Age of Discovery fundamentally transformed maritime exploration in ways that reshaped global cultural exchange and human understanding. Their influence extended far beyond mere participation, creating lasting impacts that would ripple through centuries of human civilization. Women's knowledge of medicinal practices proved revolutionary in the maritime context. They brought with them traditional healing methods from their European backgrounds, but more importantly, they demonstrated an exceptional ability to learn and adapt medical knowledge from encountered cultures. In ports across Africa, Asia, and the Americas, these women engaged with local healers, often gaining access to knowledge that remained closed to male explorers. They learned to identify new medicinal plants, understand different therapeutic approaches, and blend various healing traditions. This medical diplomacy saved countless lives aboard ships, where scurvy, tropical diseases, and injuries threatened entire crews. Their practiced hands introduced compounds like cinchona bark for malaria treatment and learned to adapt indigenous poultices for wound healing, creating a revolutionary fusion of global medical knowledge. In the realm of intercultural relations, women played a crucial role as diplomatic bridges. Through strategic marriages and alliances, they created lasting connections between European explorers and indigenous societies. These unions went far beyond political convenience. They became channels for profound cultural exchange. Women in these positions often learned multiple languages, understood complex social customs, and facilitated trade negotiations that would have been impossible through traditional diplomatic channels. Their unique position allowed them to navigate both worlds, often preventing conflicts and fostering understanding between drastically different cultures. The documentation of encounters with new peoples and lands took on a different dimension through women's perspectives. While official records focused on military conquests, resource exploitation, and territorial claims, women's accounts captured the human elements of these encounters. Their writings, often preserved through personal letters and secret diaries, detailed intimate observations about indigenous family structures, child-rearing practices, food preparation methods, and social customs. These accounts provided invaluable insights into the daily lives and cultural practices of encountered peoples, offering a more nuanced and complete picture of human diversity than official chronicles. Perhaps most significantly, women became the keepers of memories that official records deliberately ignored or suppressed. They preserved stories of peaceful cultural exchanges, recorded instances of mutual respect and learning between different peoples, and documented the complex human dynamics aboard ships and in new settlements. Their accounts often challenged the triumphalist narrative of conquest, offering instead stories of cultural adaptation, mutual influence, and shared humanity. Through oral traditions passed down through generations, they maintained alternative histories that provided a more complete and nuanced understanding of the age of discovery. The impact of women's presence during this era extended into technological and practical innovations. They adapted traditional European domestic technologies to new environments, created hybrid cooking methods that incorporated ingredients from multiple continents, and developed new approaches to food preservation that proved vital for long-sea voyages. Their practical innovations in clothing, shelter, and daily living helped European expeditions adapt to radically different climates and conditions. This feminine influence on maritime exploration created lasting legacies in global culture. The medical knowledge they helped preserve and transmit continues to influence modern pharmacology. Their role in intercultural diplomacy established patterns of peaceful exchange that would influence international relations for centuries. Their documentation of cultural encounters provides invaluable historical insights that help us understand this transformative period in human history. Through their presence and actions, these women didn't just witness the connecting of worlds. They actively shaped how these connections would transform human civilization. The ancient Portuguese saying to navigate was necessary, to live was optional, takes on profound new meaning when viewed through the lens of women's participation in the age of discovery. For these pioneering women, the choice to sail represented far more than geographical exploration. It was an act of radical self-determination in an era that denied them basic freedoms. These women's decisions to venture into the maritime world carried consequences far more severe than those faced by their male counterparts. While men risked their lives against the natural perils of the sea, women faced both these dangers and the additional threat of discovery, punishment, and social death. The phrase, "to live was optional," wasn't merely poetic for them. It was a stark reality. Discovery of their true identities could result in execution, imprisonment, or lifetime confinement in religious institutions. Their acts of defiance represented a form of proto-feminism, centuries before the word existed. These women challenged fundamental assumptions about gender capabilities and social roles at a time when such challenges were nearly unthinkable. They proved through their actions that courage, skill, and intelligence knew no gender. In the confined spaces of sailing vessels, they demonstrated that women could perform every task required for maritime success, from navigation to combat, from diplomacy to ship maintenance. The psychological fortitude required for their undertaking was extraordinary. These women lived in constant awareness that every gesture, word, or action could betray their identity. They maintained their disguises not for days or weeks, but for years, sometimes decades. This perpetual performance required a level of mental strength that went beyond mere physical endurance. They weren't just surviving at sea, they were conducting a continuous high-stakes performance where the slightest slip could prove fatal. Their stories force us to reconsider our understanding of historical gender roles. While official histories paint a picture of women as passive observers of the age of discovery, the evidence suggests they were active participants in one of humanity's greatest adventures. They didn't wait for society to grant them permission to explore. They seized the opportunity at tremendous personal risk, rewriting the rules of what was possible for their gender. Prepare to have your understanding of history completely transformed. Behind every celebrated navigator, countless untold stories of invisible women await discovery. These aren't just tales of stowaways or accidental participants. They're chronicles of deliberate, courageous actors who shaped the course of maritime history. Hit subscribe and join our growing community of historical truth seekers as we uncover more of these extraordinary narratives. Did you know that some of history's most famous voyages might have turned out differently without the hidden influence of women aboard? From navigation to diplomacy, from medicine to combat, women's secret contributions shaped the age of discovery in ways we're only beginning to understand. Don't miss our upcoming revelations. Activate notifications now to join us on this journey of historical discovery. Every like, share, and comment helps bring these forgotten stories to light. Join our community of history enthusiasts as we continue to uncover the hidden figures who shaped our world. Let's give these remarkable women the recognition they deserve after centuries in the shadows. Together, we're not just learning about history, we're rewriting it to include the voices that were silently shaping it all along. Remember to ring that bell and join our notification squad. You won't want to miss our next episode, where we'll reveal even more shocking discoveries about women's secret roles in maritime history. The truth about who really shaped the age of discovery is more surprising than you could ever imagine.